Have you ever walked into a room and suddenly forgotten why you went there? Or struggled to find the right word in the middle of a sentence? Maybe you've misplaced your keys more often than usual, or felt mentally foggy after starting a new medication. For many older adults, these changes are quickly dismissed as normal aging. But sometimes the real cause is sitting right inside the medicine cabinet. Certain commonly used medications can affect memory, attention, and thinking, especially in people over 60. In some cases, these effects are mild and temporary. In others, they can become serious enough to resemble dementia-like symptoms. The important word here is reversible, because unlike true dementia, medication-related cognitive problems often improve once the drug is adjusted, reduced, or replaced under medical supervision. Today, we're going to talk about 9 common types of medications that can affect brain function in older adults, not to create fear, but to raise awareness so you can have informed conversations with your doctor and protect your cognitive health. Let's begin. Strong sleep medications, sedative hypnotics. One of the most common contributors to memory problems in older adults is prescription sleep medication. Drugs used for insomnia can help people fall asleep, but they can also interfere with how the brain processes and stores memory. Many seniors report feeling foggy the next day, struggling to concentrate, or having trouble remembering recent events. In some cases, these medications can increase confusion, especially if taken regularly or at higher doses. The reason is simple. These drugs slow down brain activity. While that helps with sleep, it can also reduce mental sharpness during waking hours. Over time, this can feel like cognitive decline. Doctors often recommend non-medication approaches for sleep first, because the brain in older adults is more sensitive to these effects. 2. Benzodiazepines, anti-anxiety medications. Medications commonly prescribed for anxiety, panic attacks, or sleep problems belong to a class called benzodiazepines. While they can be effective for short-term relief, they are also strongly linked with memory impairment in older adults. People may experience difficulty forming new memories, confusion, or slowed thinking. Some individuals describe it as feeling mentally detached or not fully alert. The risk increases with long-term use. Because these medications affect a neurotransmitter called GABA, they slow down brain activity. In older adults, the brain clears these drugs more slowly, making the effects stronger and longer lasting. Doctors today often try to limit long-term use in seniors whenever possible. 3. Anticholinergic medications. This is one of the most important categories to understand. Anticholinergic drugs are found in many common medications, including those used for allergies, overactive bladder, depression, and motion sickness. These drugs block a chemical messenger called acetylcholine, which plays a key role in memory and learning. When acetylcholine is blocked, people may experience confusion, forgetfulness, and difficulty concentrating. Older adults are especially sensitive to these effects. In some cases, higher anticholinergic burden has been associated with long-term cognitive decline risk, which is why doctors carefully evaluate these medications in seniors. 4. First-generation antihistamines. Many over-the-counter allergy medications fall into this category. They are often used for colds, allergies, or sleep. While effective for symptoms like sneezing or runny nose, they can also cross into the brain and cause drowsiness and mental slowing. Some people use them at night to help with sleep, but the next day effects can include grogginess, confusion, and memory issues. In older adults, even standard doses can sometimes feel too strong. Newer antihistamines are often less sedating, which is why doctors may recommend switching when appropriate. 5. Opioid pain medications. Strong painkillers used for moderate to severe pain can significantly affect brain function. These medications act on the central nervous system, often causing drowsiness, confusion, and slowed thinking. In older adults, especially those taking higher doses or multiple medications, opioids can increase the risk of delirium, a sudden state of confusion. This can sometimes be mistaken for dementia, especially in hospital settings. However, in many cases, cognitive function improves when the medication is reduced or discontinued under medical supervision. 6. Muscle relaxants. Muscle relaxants are often prescribed for back pain or muscle spasms. While they can reduce discomfort, they also tend to cause sedation and mental fog. Older adults may feel unusually sleepy, less alert, or forgetful while using them. Because they affect the central nervous system, their impact can be more pronounced with age. Even short-term use can temporarily affect thinking clarity. 7. Some blood pressure medications. Most blood pressure medications are safe and essential for heart health. However, certain types, especially those that affect the brain or nervous system, may occasionally cause dizziness, fatigue, or mild confusion in some older adults. This is not common, but when it occurs, it is usually related to blood pressure dropping too low or individual sensitivity. Because brain function depends on good blood flow, significant drops in pressure can sometimes make people feel mentally off or less sharp. Doctors often adjust dosage carefully to avoid these effects. 8. Corticosteroids. Steroid medications are widely used to reduce inflammation in conditions like asthma, arthritis, and autoimmune disorders. But they can also affect mood and cognition. Some people experience anxiety, irritability, sleep disturbance, or difficulty concentrating. In higher doses, confusion or mood changes may become more noticeable. These effects are usually temporary and improve when the medication is reduced or stopped. 9. Medications with multiple interactions. Sometimes, the issue isn't one single drug, it's the combination. Older adults are more likely to take multiple prescriptions at the same time. When several medications interact, they can amplify side effects like sedation, confusion, or memory problems. This is often called polypharmacy. The more medications involved, the greater the chance that the brain becomes affected. That's why regular medication reviews with a healthcare provider are extremely important. Now, before you feel alarmed, here's something important to understand. These medications do not cause dementia in most cases. What they can cause is cognitive impairment that looks like dementia, especially in older adults whose brains are more sensitive to medication effects. And the good news is this: in many cases, these effects are reversible, which means identifying the cause early can make a real difference. If you or someone you know is experiencing memory problems, confusion, or mental fog after starting a new medication, it's important not to stop the medication suddenly, but to speak with a healthcare professional. Never adjust or discontinue prescriptions on your own. Instead, ask simple questions like, could this medication be affecting my memory? Are there safer alternatives? Can the dose be adjusted? Do I still need all of these medications? Sometimes, even small changes can significantly improve clarity and quality of life. As we finish today's discussion, remember this: not all memory problems in older adults are caused by aging, and not all are permanent. Sometimes, the brain is simply reacting to medications it's more sensitive to than before. Awareness is the first step toward improvement. If this video helped you understand something new, consider sharing it with a family member or friend. It might help someone recognize a problem that has an easy solution. And if you'd like more videos about healthy aging, brain health, and medication safety, don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, stay informed, stay cautious, and always take care of your brain. It's one of your most important assets. Now let's bring everything together and focus on how you can protect your brain health while still safely managing your medical conditions. The goal is not to fear medications. Medications are essential. For many people, they are life-saving and life-improving. But like any powerful tool, they need to be used carefully, especially as we age. One of the most effective ways to protect cognitive health is through regular medication reviews. At least once a year, and sometimes more often, it is important to sit down with a healthcare provider and go through every medication being used. This is sometimes called a brown bag review, where you literally bring all your medications in a bag and review them one by one. During this review, doctors may identify medications that are no longer needed, drugs that may be interacting with each other, doses that can be reduced, safer alternatives with fewer brain-related side effects. Even small changes can sometimes make a noticeable difference in mental clarity. Another important step is monitoring changes over time. If you or your family notice that memory problems, confusion, or mental fog started shortly after a new medication was introduced, that timing is important. Always report that connection to your healthcare provider. Timing often provides the biggest clue. Now let's talk about lifestyle factors that support brain resilience. While medications can sometimes contribute to cognitive side effects, the brain also has a powerful ability to adapt and recover when supported properly. Regular physical activity, even something as simple as walking, helps improve blood flow to the brain and supports mental clarity. Staying socially active is also extremely important. Conversations, family interactions, and social engagement all help keep the brain active and alert. Mental stimulation matters too. Reading, puzzles, learning new skills, or even simple daily problem solving can help strengthen cognitive pathways. Nutrition also plays a key role. A balanced diet that includes fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats supports both brain and body health. And hydration should never be overlooked. Even mild dehydration can worsen confusion in older adults. Sleep is another cornerstone of brain health. A consistent sleep schedule helps the brain process memory and restore mental energy. When these factors are combined, they can significantly improve overall cognitive resilience, even in people taking necessary medications. Now, it's also important to understand when to seek medical attention urgently. You should contact a healthcare provider promptly if you notice sudden confusion or disorientation, rapid changes in memory or behavior, difficulty recognizing familiar people or places, severe drowsiness or inability to stay awake, hallucinations or unusual behavior changes. These symptoms should never be ignored, especially if they appear suddenly after starting or changing a medication. Early evaluation can often identify a treatable cause. Sometimes it is medication-related. Other times it may be an infection, dehydration, or another medical issue. Either way, prompt attention leads to better outcomes. Let's also clear up one final misconception. Many people believe that memory decline in older age is always permanent and unavoidable. That is not always true. While some forms of cognitive decline are progressive, many cases of confusion and memory problems in older adults are influenced by reversible factors, including medications, sleep issues, metabolic imbalances, and infections. This means that improvement is often possible when the underlying cause is addressed, and that is a very important message to remember. You are not powerless when it comes to brain health. Small changes in medication management, lifestyle habits, and medical monitoring can make a meaningful difference in quality of life. So here is the key takeaway from today's video. Some commonly used medications can affect memory, attention, and thinking in older adults, but these effects are often reversible and manageable when identified early. Awareness is the first step toward prevention. Communication with healthcare providers is the next step, and consistent monitoring is what helps protect long-term brain health. If you or someone you love is experiencing changes in memory or thinking, Don't assume it is just normal aging. Look deeper, ask questions, review medications, seek guidance, because sometimes the solution is simpler than expected. Before we finish, remember this. Your brain is one of your most valuable organs. It deserves attention, care, and protection at every stage of life. Thank you for watching. If you found this information helpful, consider sharing it with someone who may benefit. It could help them understand symptoms that are often misunderstood. And don't forget to subscribe for more videos on healthy aging, brain health, and practical medical awareness topics. Until next time, stay informed, stay proactive, and take care of your mind. It shapes every part of your life. Before we finish, there's something many people don't realize about memory problems in older adults. When confusion, forgetfulness, or mental slowing appears, the first assumption is often that something serious and permanent is happening in the brain. But in reality, doctors rarely jump to that conclusion first. Instead, they begin by looking for modifiable causes, things that can be changed, adjusted, or treated. And one of the most important categories in that process is medication. Because medications don't just treat the body, they also interact with the brain. And in older adults, the brain becomes more sensitive to those effects over time. That's why two people can take the same medication and have completely different experiences. One feels fine, the other feels confused, tired, or mentally slow. This difference is not random. It's biology, metabolism, and brain sensitivity. Now, here's something critical to understand. When medication-related cognitive changes happen, they often don't appear immediately. They can develop gradually. A person may first notice mild forgetfulness, then difficulty concentrating, then trouble following conversations, then increased dependence on notes or reminders. Because these changes are slow, they are often mistaken for normal aging. But timing matters. If symptoms started after a new medication or dose change, that connection is extremely important. Doctors call this a temporal relationship, and it is one of the strongest clues that a medication may be involved. Now let's talk about something very practical, what families often observe. It is not uncommon for relatives to say things like, "He just doesn't seem like himself anymore. She seems more confused in the evenings. He forgets conversations from earlier the same day. She is more sleepy and less engaged." These changes can be subtle at first, but they are meaningful, especially when they begin after a medication adjustment. Another important point is that these effects are often more noticeable at certain times of day. Many medications cause what is called cognitive fluctuation. This means mental clarity may vary throughout the day. For example, morning may feel clearer, afternoon may bring fatigue, evening may bring confusion or restlessness. This pattern is particularly common in older adults taking multiple medications or sedating drugs. Now let's go deeper into something that connects everything we've discussed so far: the concept of brain vulnerability. As we age, the brain does not become weak, but it does become more sensitive to stressors. Those stressors include medications, poor sleep, dehydration, infections, nutritional deficiencies, chronic pain, emotional stress. When multiple stressors combine, the brain can become overwhelmed. And when that happens, symptoms like confusion or memory loss can appear suddenly or worsen quickly. This is why older adults are more likely to experience delirium, especially during illness or after medication changes. Now, here's what makes this especially important. Delirium is often reversible, but only if it is recognized early. If the underlying cause is not addressed, recovery may take longer or become more complicated. That's why awareness is not just helpful, it is protective. Let's now return to medications and look at a broader perspective. Most medications we discussed in this video are not bad. They are commonly prescribed for legitimate medical reasons: pain relief, anxiety control, sleep improvement, allergy management, muscle relaxation, inflammation control. The issue is not whether these medications are useful. The issue is how the body responds to them in later life. And whether their benefits still outweigh their side effects. That balance can change over time. A medication that was helpful at age 55 may cause side effects at age 75. That does not mean something is wrong, it simply means the body has changed. This is why periodic reassessment is essential. Now let's talk about something empowering. There is a concept in geriatric medicine called medication optimization. It means using the lowest effective dose, avoiding unnecessary medications, choosing safer alternatives when possible, reducing drug interactions, simplifying complex medication schedules. This approach has been shown to improve alertness, reduce falls, and in some cases improve cognitive clarity. Sometimes improving memory is not about adding something new. It is about removing something unnecessary. Now, if you are watching this and wondering what you should actually do in real life, here is a simple and practical approach. First, observe. Pay attention to changes such as new confusion, increased forgetfulness, daytime sleepiness, sudden mood changes, difficulty concentrating. Second, connect timing. Ask, when did this start? Was there a new medication around that time? Third, organize. Keep a complete list of all medications, including over-the-counter drugs and supplements. Fourth, communicate. Speak openly with a healthcare provider. Do not assume changes are permanent or untreatable. And fifth, never stop medications suddenly on your own. That step is extremely important. Some medications require gradual tapering to avoid withdrawal effects or health risks. Now let's end with something reassuring and realistic. Not all memory problems are caused by medications. Not all confusion is dangerous, and not all cognitive changes are permanent. Many older adults experience improvement once contributing factors are addressed: better sleep, better hydration, fewer unnecessary medications, improved health management. These changes can all support clearer thinking. And perhaps the most important message of all is this: you are not powerless when it comes to brain health. Even in later life, small adjustments can make a meaningful difference. So if there is one final takeaway from this entire video, let it be this: when it comes to memory and thinking changes in older adults, always look deeper before assuming the worst, because sometimes the solution is simpler and more treatable than it appears. Thank you for staying until the end. If you found this video helpful, consider sharing it with someone who may benefit. It could help them understand symptoms that are often misunderstood. And as always, stay informed, stay proactive, and take care of your mind. It is your lifelong companion.